Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizzano, and you are listening to another episode of the world famous The University of Love, the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies. But, ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just call this show Online Marketing Moves. And we are coming to you live today. Today is Wednesday, May the 7th, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very exciting episode for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, we were going to talk about, another personality-based marketing, but today we are going to talk about something. Today we are going to talk about the most apparently the most profitable word in the English language, okay? And we are going to talk about race baiting. We're going to talk about making money off of race. The marketing for the race hustling it's getting up there. Most profitable word in the English language, apparently, this week anyway. Well, the rappers use it a lot, it's nigger, okay? And apparently it is out of control with the they called me a nigger, or somebody called somebody a nigger, and they say, oh, I need to move, I'm threatened, I'm harmed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very tiresome subject, but the ability for people to steal, even more now, people pretending like this is 1960, people pretending like they're victims. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all nonsense. It's the marketing, it's the optics, it's the illusion, it's the collusion. It's, hey, I'm a victim. I've been called, a lady at the park. She's probably not a nice person. She's at the park. Apparently, this is all allegedly, just in case. She's a white lady. She's at the park. A young kid walks into her bag, takes something out, and apparently the lady called the kid a nigga or a nigger, which does not matter because you should try not to use either one of those words. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But apparently she called the young man that, and they tried to raise money for the young kid because he's a victim, even though he's 6. And by the time he's 8, 9, 7, he probably won't even remember this incident. And the lady who called the young man allegedly a nigger, whatever she said, has raised $300, $400, $500,000, something ridiculous like that, because now she feels like she has to move, which she really doesn't, because nobody is going to come looking for you, sweetie, okay? But that's neither here nor there. The point is, these people are making a profit off a ridiculous word. And these people in the last 5 to 10 years, more and more, go to see it. This is why you got to stop watching CNN, MSNBC, Fox. I don't care which one. They're all trash. They all do the same thing. Anytime you have a story of a black person and a white person in America, somebody gets murdered. It's just like the young man in Texas. There's a young black man. He stabbed a young kid in the heart, over sitting in the wrong stand or something like that. People are trying to claim self-defense. People are trying to, it's racist, blah, 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 blah. They raised like $400,000 for this guy, which is ridiculous and silly, and it's nonsensical. You get into an altercation, and the first thing you do is stab somebody in the heart, and it's not even like it's two young people, they do, so even if the guy said, hey man, why are you sitting here? To turn around and stab him in the heart is crazy. And for people to defend that is even more crazy. But these are the times that we live in. Because why? If you act super pro black, you can make a lot of money. If you act super pro white, you can make a lot of money. And now you got to understand, nowadays, the more extreme you act, the more money you bring in. This is the marketing ploy about race, okay? You got to be super extreme, they trying to hold us back, like the MLK. And what I'm saying is this is all a hustle. You understand? This is a hustle. And the N word is a very profitable word because look, I mean, when I grew up in the 90s, gangster rap, it was nigga, 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 and all these people portrayed themselves to be these gangsters and these Crips, and hip hop is like wrestling. Hip hop is professional wrestling because most of these guys, they really don't live the life they live. These guys are married people. They've been married for 20 years, 30 years. They never sold a drug. I just saw a clip of Pusha T. He's a rapper, if you don't know, but he was at the Met Gala apparently, and they asked him, and he said something about snow. And Pusha T has been rapping about cocaine for the last 20 years. Pusha T might have sold one slither of cocaine a long time ago, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't sold any cocaine recently. But yet he still goes on and on and on and on and on until the break of dawn about selling cocaine. It is ridiculous. The N word is very profitable, and I know people say weed. There's power in that word. Blah 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 blah. Man, listen. It's all nonsense, okay, ladies and gents. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. Whenever you have the race hustling is wild because you can if you're always on one side or the other, you can always get on the Fox, the CNBC, the whatever station you want to think of, and it's always black and white. You never see it's not many instances whenever I see the news of hey, white guy shot a white guy today. It happens. We all know it happens, but the news, nope, 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 nope. To a black person and another black person shooting at each other. It happens. Not gonna see it on the news, but lo and behold, you get a cop. I remember these cops in Memphis. I think it was these black police officers in Memphis. They shot a black man. It was news for a second because they were police officers, but then it quickly went away. 5 years later, we still talk about Derek Chauvin and George Floyd, and they showed the image. And yep, should he have, he was doing his job. I mean, I understand that he went too far. He could have eased off the man's neck. We all know that. But George Floyd was white. It wouldn't have been this. It wouldn't have been this much outrage. We all know that. We all know the marketing of the race, the marketing of the N word. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn, if you want to study, how because it's easy to spot. It's easy to spot. You know a race hustler because everything is race. Everything is race. Oh, they're killing us. And if you don't like a certain demographic, there's one thing I never understood. And I know why people fought for the right to vote. We all know why people fought. Because in the 40s and the 50s, they just and this is America in general, but black and white people, they have a thing. A lot of black people, a lot of white people, they want to be around each other, but they claim like they don't like each other. It's weird. We have a weird dynamic with some people because they're like, well, them white people over there doing this and them white people do. At the end of the day, if you as I get older and my world shrinks, which for me it's already shrunk, because I'm a person that I've never had that many close friends. I have a few, but not as many as most people. Some people, you know what I'm saying? But I will say this, once you're over the age of 21, once you get out of high school, you can choose who you want to be around. If you want to live in a certain part of town and you don't want to see people, you can definitely do that. You don't have to live. If you say this place is racist, this person is racist, blah 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 blah. You have the ability to move. We have people every day claiming they're gonna move from America. Good luck with that. Listen, you go to some of these countries, if you're gay or in an interracial marriage or anything like that, they're more than likely gonna, give you a harder time than you would get in America. But you have people every day. But then again, we have people, they say they're gonna they move from America, they move to Thailand or they move to Ghana or they move anywhere, but yet They always filming themselves. They're always trying to get your American dollar. Buy my course. Hey man, if you're gonna move, no offense and all that, that's great. But move to Thailand, get immersed in the culture, get immersed, learn to speak the language, go do all that. Because hey man, in America, people move here, we expect them. Hey, when I was younger, people would say, speak English, speak English. Come on, man. I mean, Donald Trump, he just got this thing about truck driving where they want people to speak English with the trucks, which, man, I must say, these days, he might be on to someone that comes to that, because I just saw a video yesterday, not to get off the subject, but I just saw a video the other day of this guy. He's on the highway. He's on like a 2-lane road, and he's trying to pass an ambulance, and he's doing like 60 miles an hour, and he hit head on with this car, And I've seen that, a couple months ago. It was like 3 times. I'm just driving on the road, and somebody's trying to pass me in like the middle of the night, and I saw that they were, a foreigner, and there's nothing wrong with that. You come to America, you get a job, that's cool. But the lack of training, and this is why, not to get preachy with you, this is why you got to take care of yourself, because at the end of the day, nobody really nobody gives a excuse my language, but nobody gives a shit about you or your loved ones. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, because these people probably don't have to go to, you know, I had to go to CDL school, get a permit, go take a test, But I'm pretty sure a lot of people come here, they might skip all that, or whatever, and they just sort of get a license, and that's very dangerous. They don't care about the motor in public. So, and this is why I'm telling you. I mean, I get it. Yeah, you don't want to be harassed. Yeah, you don't want to be called. Yeah, you don't want to have these problems. But when do they show this stuff? This woman, she called this young 6-year-old the N-word. Is it good? No. Is it detrimental to his life? No. They raise money for the kid that stabbed somebody in the heart. This kid had evil intentions, stabbing somebody in the heart, when all they said was move, or even if they got physical. Come on, man. Now we doing the extreme. If somebody pushed me right now, I would not think I'm gonna stab them in the heart. I might I might swing on them, but stabbing them, it's a bit much, okay? And I know common sense ain't common no more, and I know that, according to the race hustlers and the race peddlers and the people that want to be victims all the time, I know this is 1950. Listen, you wouldn't have made it in 1950. I wouldn't have made it in 1950. 1940, 1930, the 1800s. None of us would have made it. We would have. If they drop us, we had to go back to the future. Right now, and they say, hey, you're gonna live in 1950s, and you walking down the street, and somebody says, get out of here, and you'd be like, say what? You would think I'm about to fight them, but then when the cops, when the town, when the whoever, whatever, come with the Billy Club, you'd be like, man, take me back to 2025, okay? And yes, there's always gonna be some type of racism, some type of prejudice. We all know that. You know that. I know that. That ain't nothing. That's not a thing. That's not a the world's never gonna be. The world's gonna never be 100% kumbaya, because we are human beings, and human beings, somebody gets power, a group gets power, and they're like, hey, I know how I feel when they treated me like trash, so they're like, hey, no, forget that. I'm finna treat you like trash. It's dynasties come, dynasties go. I mean, things happen. Is it as bad as it seems? No, but why work, man, when you can? Why work when you see the play, and you see, because listen, as somebody who's I've worked and worked hard, man, it's a lot easier to run around, pretending like you're a warrior, justice warrior for the a protector of the N word or a protector of a race of people when we all know that you're not. Okay, just like the Black Lives Matter hustle. Black Lives Matter. They was all oh, we need to take up money because George Floyd he's a victim, and the Black Lives Matter group, they took a bunch of money, they bought a bunch of they bought houses, and where did they move to? Quote unquote, the predominantly quote unquote white neighborhood. Not hey, let me move to where a lot of black people live. Let me not move to let me not move into the area where I can help. Clean up the area, blah blah blah, get the property value going, blah blah blah. It's just like the whole gentrification thing. People, oh man, they gentrifying, they gentrifying, they gentrifying. Well, you have every opportunity to live where you want to live. You have every opportunity to buy property. You have every opportunity to buy land, but a lot of people don't do it, or they get property from the grandma because a lot of times this happens, and this happened to my family. Oh, my grandma, she owned some land. Nobody wanted. I was a kid. None of the adults, I guess, were like, let me get this land or let me pay the taxes, blah 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 blah. Eventually, nobody paid the taxes. Nobody did nothing about it. City bought the land. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. A lot of times, you can't, and you see it all the time. I mean, these New York people who are supposed to be the geniuses of the world. Let them tell it, okay? Well, New York is gentrifying, is gentrifying, is gentrifying. Well, all of y'all, claim you're so smart, you're such a genius, hustlers and all this all this garbage, And I got nothing against people in New York. Well, maybe I do. Maybe I'm a little biased, but whatever. Doesn't matter. But gentrify, gentrify, gentrify. They complain, they bitch, they moan. As soon as people get money, they run from their neighborhood, they run into another neighborhood. Oh, this is the safe zone. I'm out here with these other group of people. Then they complain. I can't believe what they're doing to the old neighborhood. Listen, I grew up in a small town. I joined the Navy. I left good old New Madrid. I don't know what's going on in New Madrid. Honestly, I don't care what's going on in New Madrid. I left. You know what I'm saying? If I wanted to stick around, and stay, woulda. If I wanted to see what was going on after I got out the Navy, I would have came back. I would have moved down there. But no, I did not. I stayed with my parents a couple of years, and then after that, I moved to Atlanta, and that was that. So I'm not gonna say gentrifying the neighborhood. No, I left that neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? I left this city. I left the little town I'm from. I honestly, there's no looking back. And a lot of times, a lot of people they're like, I can't believe they're gentrifying. Well, you didn't even want to stay in the neighborhood that you lived in. But the gentrification is not a thing. You left. You did not want to stay. You did not want to pay for your grandma's house, or you did not want to buy a house. You did not want to clean up the community. You wanted to run to the suburbs or run to wherever you think is a safe place. Okay, so that's that. But ladies and gentlemen, race hustling is a profitable business. If you want to get in on it, make sure, because a lot of times, listen, I'm telling you, it's a big old scam. If you want to get in on it, you gotta either call somebody the N word, or you gotta have somebody call you the N word. It does not matter if it's nigger. That part does not matter. Either way, if you want to rap about, if you want to be a rapper, I'm telling you how you can make money through race. Okay, if you want to be a rapper and say, I had to get it out the mud, and I was selling cocaine. That was the only way I could make a living, was selling drugs. Blah 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 blah. You can do that. You can be a quote unquote thought leader of your community, which we don't need any. As a black man in America, I would like to separate from different. Well, one group in particular, I would like to separate from, and I would like to start a petition, and that is the celebrities. God bless celebrities. I ain't mad at them. You do what you do. You make a great living. Hey, listen, I'm gonna try to be an actor myself. At my age, I'm about to become an actor. Okay, So look out, I'm gonna be on the big screen too. I remember, I give you an example of Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard, he's a good actor. You know what I'm saying? He's a good actor. And Terrence Howard, he said they fired him from Iron Man because they were racist. Okay, and if you read comic books like I read comic books when I was a kid, or you know the layout of superhero stories and all that, then you and I both know Marvel, DC Comics, the actor playing the role is not the main attraction. It's about the superhero. Now, for the common boob that's not in the comic books and whatnot, you know, I wonder who's gonna play Spider-Man. I never cared who plays Spider-Man. I thought Tobey Maguire did good. I thought Tom Holland did good. I thought the other guy was cool. It does not matter. Spider-Man is Spider-Man is the main attraction. And so Terrence Howard, I guess he thought Rhodes was a big deal. Rhodes is Iron Man's little buddy. It does not matter if you play Rhodes. It does not matter if I play Rhodes. It does not matter if Terrence Howard played Rhodes. Don Cheadle, who has done a great job playing Rhodes, and he's a smart man, he thought it was racist. Just the other day, my friend was telling me that Hawkeye, weak Marvel character, played by Jeremy Renner. They was going to do season 2 of Hawkeye. I didn't even know they had season 1 personally, but they was going to do season 2. So they wanted him to take a pay cut. Jeremy Renner said, "I know my worth. I know my value. Da 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 da." They said, "You know what, Jeremy Renner? Thanks, but no thanks. We are going to move on without you. We are going to shoot Hawkeye, and we are going to take it from here." Jeremy Renner, last time I checked, he's not a black man. I don't think they can call race. I don't think they can say they're racist. I think superheroes, unfortunately, does not matter who you are, black, white, red, green. Nobody cares. Okay? It's about the superhero. It's not about you, man. So that little bit of racial, thing is debunked. Okay? And so I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, the race baiting, the N-word, the nonsense. It can make you plenty of money. It's very tiresome to hear about. It's very tiresome to read about. Anytime something happens between a black and white person, here they go. This is why we gotta stop watching all the news stations. It's all ridiculous. Everybody knows. And as soon as they get a black and white person, they're like, man. As soon as they're like, is this story about a black person and a white person, or any other, they're like, all right, let's go, let's double down. We got a news story. It's just like the thing in Alabama when the people tried to attack the man in the boat in Alabama, and he was swinging, and he was handling his business, and they tried to go with that one for a while, and it's very tiresome. It's marketable as hell because, you all, hopefully not you all, but a lot of people, they fall for it, they run with it. They're trying to hold us down, blah, 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 blah. Nobody really, they're holding you down, all right. The reason why a lot of people never have the success they want, they so busy, worried about, the Met Gala, and you're worried about, the Housewives of Atlanta, and you're worried about, you're worried about this one and that one, and you're worried about the social media, and the social media is a bunch of bull jive. You know that, and I know that, but you're worried about that. And you're worried about who said what to who and all this other stuff. And man, at the end of the day, the more you focus on you, the more you, as my friend, the great Ricky Roussel would say, mind the business that pays me. Okay. At the end of the day, if you're more focused on you, and if you're more focused on what you can control, and if you're more focused on your finances, your business, your family, because your house is the most important thing, that you take care of your house, and then everything else, you can't, you're not gonna, and these people don't want to save the world. Listen, all these people that talk that black, white talk, blah, blah, blah in America, they don't want to say, they don't want no racial harmony. Shit. Man, if they got racial harmony, they'd be out of jobs. They wouldn't be making no money. They wouldn't be able to write books. Come on, man. These people don't want racial harmony. Don't be a goober. I don't care where you live. I don't care where you from. Don't be naive. Don't be stupid. And don't be dumb. Don't fall for this nonsense. The racial divide. We're divided. Blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, listen. If you listen to this show, man or woman, boy, girl, black, white, Asian, Australian, where you from? Great Britain, Egypt, it doesn't matter. I like you. I love you. I appreciate you. It does not matter where you're from. Everybody knows. It doesn't matter. Man, I grew up in a small town, Missouri, and when I was in the Navy, I met people. We had differences, black, white. Everybody's different than everybody. This is why, you know, this is just a fact of life, and that's okay. We all can find something common we all have common ground, one thing or another. It does not matter who you are, what you are. But don't fall for the racial stuff. Don't fall for the racial BS. It's a hustle. It's a grift. It's a great marketing. Look, the NBA blew up off the racial, white Larry Bird, which, Larry Bird is a hell of a basketball player. And Magic Johnson, the black guy from LA, Larry Bird, the white guy in Boston. The NBA blew all the way up off of that. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. And so don't fall for the racial hoax. Don't fall for the racial divide. Don't fall for that. Okay? Don't be a sucker. Don't be a boob. Focus on yourself. Focus on your business. Worry about your business. Worry about you. Worry about your family, Worry about the things that you control. Worry about how you can make more money. Don't worry about LeBron James is going to play basketball again for another year. Don't worry about what kind of contract, blah, 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 this is going to sign, It's great to have hobbies and everything. Now I'm preaching to you. It's great to have hobbies and everything, but man, the more you focus on you, the more you focus on your business, the more you focus on your life, the better off you will be, ladies and gentlemen. You won't have time to worry about no fake racial divides, Just last week, I had dinner with my family. We are a little melting pot, okay? And we all love each other. We all get along splendidly. So that's that. And a lot of times, your family, you probably have your own little racial melting pot. And y'all get along fine. And y'all get along great, okay? Only person I have beef with sometimes is my brother. And that's it, okay? Not because he's my brother. But anyway, ladies and gents, that's it. We'll be back tomorrow with the all-new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Rizzano. Thank you for listening. God bless each and every one of you. And as always, everybody, peace.